We appreciate you watching and listening to the Dead Jeff Show. Please like and subscribe and tune in for more videos. So like you said, we're talking draft, and this week's is wide receivers and tight ends. And now look, we don't know if the Cowboys are going to be a player for any of these top wide receivers, but there's several in the second and third tier that are intriguing, that they may be looking at. And tight end, they don't ever seem to draft high tight ends, and it's good because this year it's not a bunch of them to worry about. So I think as we go through this, I think what I want to keep in mind is let's give the top 5 receiver, top 5 at tight end, and then who do we think might end up a Cowboy in the long term. But based on the strategies we just talked about, if they execute one of those strategies, then it has to be a 4th, 5th round wide receiver that we're talking about at that point. But let's get, who do you have in your top 5 wide receivers? Let's do those first.
Yeah, so top 5, I'm gonna run them down quick, and then I've got just a couple of little notes here, and I'm curious where a certain player ended up on your list, but we'll talk about that in a second. So I've got Makai Lemon from USC as my number 1. For a while, I had Carnell Tate here at number 1. I think the combine, him running a 4.5 40. There's a couple of other things that kind of, as this has gone along, have come out. I put him down one spot. So I've got Makai Lemon 1. I've got Carnell Tate 2. I've got Jordan Tyson 3. And then I've got Chris Brazell. I hope I'm saying his last name right. Chris Brazell the second from Tennessee. I've got him at 4, screaming up the chart. He ran a 4.37 40. He's 6'4". I mean, this dude has the physical tools to be an absolute monster. Now, the production hasn't been there. We were talking earlier about production versus potential. The production hasn't quite been there, but that dude's got some physical skills. And then at 5, I've got Casey Conception from Texas A&M, and I really really like the top 4 here. For me, I think these are 4 guys that probably come in and make a big difference right away. And then I think Conception, Boston, Cooper, Bell, Bernard, those guys kind of come in and should be able to. Unfortunately, I think where they land makes a huge difference, especially for someone like your boy Cooper. Like where they end up and what system they end up in is going to have a huge impact on whether or not they're able to be productive right away.
Yeah, I think I see your top 5 and your disrespect of Omar Cooper Jr. And how dare you, sir? How dare you? Because I think he is top 5. I got it. So I would stick with Tate at 1. I'm not scared of the 4.5 if you turn on his tape. Think about Michael Irvin. He didn't have blazing speed, but he precise route running and the physical strengths. So I got Tate. Then I've got Makai Lemon, then Jordan Tyson, then Omar Cooper Jr., and then I got your boy Brazell. I've never been a fan of Tyson, honestly, or Denzel Boston. I'm just not sure about him. But I liked Carnell Tate, and I'll leave him at 1. But I got Cooper at 4, and you can call me a homer if you want. But I think that he is the kind of guy that you don't want to pass him up and then have him come play you. He's one of those kind of guys, and I really like him. But I've been fortunate enough to watch all of his stuff and see every game and watch him show up in big moments. And he's extremely athletic. I just like him. But I'll keep Tate at number 1. And I don't. To me, I thought Tyson was like the number 1 guy early on. People always were, but I don't get what they're raving about with him. Maybe it could be just me, but I'll keep Tate at 1 and Cooper at 4, Omar Cooper Jr. And that list is not disrespectful, sir. That is paying homage to my man Omar Cooper.
Yeah, I think the thing for me with Cooper, and look, I did not watch I watched them very steadily throughout the playoff run. I did not see a full game. Well, I watched the Oregon game. I did not see another full game of Indiana's throughout the season. I think the thing that there's a site I want to credit the right side, NFL Draft Buzz, where it'll stack in the percentiles the receivers against each other. Omar Cooper, and this could work to his benefit, right? This could, like you said, this is a guy that could end up in a great situation, maybe a second round pick to like the. He shouldn't be, but just because of some of these things, imagine he slips down to like the Rams or a team like that, the Chiefs. Um, he did not score above the 75th percentile in any of the major categories: height, speed, arm length, any of the things. Any of the things, he's not above the 75th percentile in any single one of them. To me, that spells a slip. People fall way too in love with those scouting combine results. We've seen it over time. It's tried and true. I'm not saying it should be. That's just what it is. But it could actually really work out for him. He could end up slipping and ending up in a phenomenal situation.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think what I would look at is I don't remember people raving about Marvin Harrison's workout when he came out.
Right.
So, I don't have to go back and
Yep.
remind you of who that is because you're so young. But I think that I don't really like the underwear Olympics that much. I think I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock in that. It's kind of like basketball these days where people put so much, you know, I guess importance on athleticism versus skill, and I'm just not that way. I think
Mm-hmm.
if you're asking me receivers that could be tied to the Cowboys, right? There's another Indiana receiver that people have forgotten about, Surratt, who had a fantastic not last year, the year before last, and then a good year this year. I like him a lot. I don't know if he'll make it to the fourth round, but Deion Burks from Oklahoma, Jacoby Lane from SC. These are the kind of guys that possibly you could see Dallas linked to if they go even later. But the Cowboys like to find these guys that nobody's really kind of looking at. Maybe Eric McAllister at TCU, these kind of guys. I'm just saying that the Cowboys have this history of drafting like Flournoy and people that people are like, what? Who are these guys? And then they sometimes they pan out, sometimes they don't. But to me, I don't see them in the wide receiver market unless they you know trade Pickens. But at the same time, to me, I like them drafting a receiver in the fourth or fifth round.
Yeah, I do too. And I've got another name I want to throw at you. Just as I've been looking at stuff, he kind of came up a few different times. Now he only had 41 catches last year, about 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. Um, he was a senior. Xavier Thomas is from LSU. He's 5'10", 190. He played primarily in the outside, but could obviously shift over to the X. Ran a 4.28 40. And one of the things that really stuck out to me for a potential late round target is his quarterback rate. The quarterback rating when he was targeted was over 100. And he measured in the 85th percentile in hands. So again, this is a little bit, overly analytical when you start, comping players. You're not necessarily looking at the production on the field. I get what the issues are with that. But to me, when you're late round, you've got to start finding some things that you can hopefully help to kind of develop.
Yeah,
There's got to be something raw there. And I can imagine somebody with 4.28 speed being able to kind of take the top off a little bit for two very good possession type receivers in CeeDee and GP. So that's just another name to think about. Like I said, he's definitely not a mid round. It's more of like a 6th, 7th rounder type player. But I really liked him when I watched him when he did kind of pop off the screen to me.
yeah.
So just one
Well,
more name in that for you.
if you're looking at the smallish receivers, that's why I like Deion Burks. And
Yeah.
you have guys like Zachariah Branch that's small, and they're these slot receiver types. But I don't think we're going to be in play for like a Jeremy Bernard or Malachi Fields. I don't think those are going to be in our lane. But if you want to go small, that's why I would say Deion Burks. I like probably of the small receivers. And then you have let's see here. The guy at TCU, the reason I like him is his production. He's 6'3.5". Eric McAllister. I think he would fit nice here.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to go small receivers, and you got Turpin here, who's been your gadget guy, I just think that Deion Burks is the one that I would be interested in. I know the Cowboys brought in Omar Cooper Jr., but unless they're going to pick him at 20, they don't probably have a shot with him, and they may not have a shot at 20 with him. But it'll be interesting when the wide receiver run happens, because it happens where all of a sudden, nobody's taking a wide receiver, and then bam, 3 or 4 of them go off and out of 5 picks, and so
100%.
And I think there's good value in the later rounds. There's the other LSU guy. I don't know much about his production's not there. I don't know why. I haven't looked at him yet. I've heard some people talking about Aaron Anderson. I don't know too much about him, but here's what I'll say. If we're talking about these guys, I mean, it's like, okay, what kind of impact are they going to have, right? The kid out of Baylor is interesting, but I'll just say this. There are always receivers out there that are nuggets to find, right? And it's the scouting department needs to go and unearth these gems, especially this year for the Cowboys. You have a 3rd round pick now. I don't see them using that on a wide receiver. I think it'll be 4th or 5th round that they do, and they may not until the 6th, or 7th. So if they even have, I've forgotten all the picks that they have. But wide receiver is interesting this year.
They have a couple.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they do have a couple late round picks there, and I think the thing for me with like McAllister, or even Berg, like the problem with that is, to your point, you just said it. It's got to be the 3rd round pick. It's got to be 92. I just don't think they're in a position to do that. Like, if you're asking me, I'd rather take a shot not at a receiver that could have some production. I'm not saying that they won't or couldn't, but like you've detailed many times, they don't draft particularly well in those mid rounds. So if you're gonna take a shot and hope to finally hit one, hopefully it's gotta even out statistically. You can't be this bad in these rounds. Let's hope to hit with the defensive player would be my hope.
Well, and we're kind of throwing darts at a dartboard because we don't know, what's going to happen between now and the night of the draft. So I think if you're looking at, I think a receiver is something they could look at in the 4th or 5th round. That's what I'm saying. And maybe some of these guys slip and fall, right? And maybe there's an early run on receivers, and then there's a spot where we can get. And I would be okay with getting certain guys at 92 at the 3rd round if they slip and fell to you. I would be okay with a few of those names that we talked about. But that would be the only extreme case. Someone's got to fall that far for us to be there to pick them up. In other words, just wait to the 4th or 5th round unless there's somebody who falls there. So obviously with 2 Indiana guys in the mix, I'm excited about wide receiver and where they'll end up. I don't want either of them to go to Philly or Washington or New York. Okay, guys? Nobody in the NFC East.